Good evening everybody, welcome to the studio this evening. Yes, I am broadcasting my own video. I was hosting somebody and I have just checked that I'm getting my own video now. Right, so sorry I'm late. There's a bit of a story behind that, but we might say something about that a little bit later on. So chainmail, jewellery. I'm going to try a new weave tonight, a new one to me anyway, that is, called Dragon Scale. Now if I understand it correctly, and I think I do, it uses two different sizes of rings. One must go inside the other, and that's precisely what I've got in front of me. I've got two pairs. I've got some deep rose and blue, and I've got some green and orange. I'm probably going to try both, so I'm just debating with myself which one to try first. I'm going to try the deep rose just to see what it looks like. So I need to open the deep rose packet, for which I need a knife, and actually I also need something to put it into. So I am just about to borrow myself a container. Because I don't want the rings to go all over the floor. Now then, just for the moment, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a hat. That will stop the bloom that's in the camera. She's coming off the light which is just above the camera. Oh, come on, piece of paper, you got to fold straight. All I'm going to do is just do that there, and now you should the camera works out what it's going to do. It looks a little bit odd, but you're now not getting the light off the shining straight into the lens, which should give you a better picture. So let's open these. Dark rose they're called. I'll put them into there. Keep that to one side because I shall need it. Actually I should put those in as well, but they've got a resealable bag, they're not so bad. Change glasses. And get rid of a sharp scalpel before I cut myself with it. I'll do something that I don't want to happen. Right, so I need some pink, I need some blue. Now, as I understand it, there's two different ways of doing this. You can do it using closed blue rings and open pink rings, or closed pink rings and open blue rings. Bigger ones are usually easy to manipulate, so I'm going to I'm going to close the blue ones and open the pink ones. So I don't actually, how wide do I want this to be? Roughly speaking, they're going to go sort of side by side. Alright, let's have some that aren't joined to each other. How wide do I want to make this test band? 5? Yeah, 5 looks okay. So that just gives me an idea. So now we actually want to close up, in theory, 4 blue rings to match. Now, I was looking at this, and in some ways it resembles another weave called a helm weave, but it sort of resembles it in the way it's put together. So I might have a better success in being able to do it. I'm hoping this one starts relatively easily. It does look like it will. So in fact, let's make this in bits. So we'll open these, then we'll do one. We'll do them in do a row at a time. Right, so, and the fifth one. Okay, so basically we join these 4 pink rings into a chain using the blue ones as the intermediate links, and I'm off frame, aren't I? I'm set about as far forward as I can. Let me just do that then. There we go. I got told today this chair is nearly that's the one I was looking for. There we go. I got told this chair was a bit high, so I've just dropped it a little bit. That might encourage me to stay on frame. We shall see. So we now join that one to that one. And if I read this rightly, it's also a variation of a weave called European 4-in-1, being that there's 4 rings go through the blue. I don't know about 4 rings through each pink, but certainly through the blue. And I've just done that, forgetting I need to add a blue ring before I close it. Then I go and add a pink one through that. Pink. They're not pink, they're deep rose, dark rose. Dark rose. Yes, dark rose. So they are actually somewhere between the light pink and red in terms of colour. So my colour expert has said that these 2 colours go together.
Given the choice I was given.
That is true of the available colour range that I had available. Actually, I've probably got more available, but the thing being that I don't know how many blue rings I needed. In this case blue, the small rings, and therefore I wanted to choose a colour that I got plenty of. Okay, and then we go with a pink. Pink, dark rose. It's not pink. Well, it is pink, it's a dark pink. Oh dear, different people call colours different things. Okay, so that's would be the first row of dragon scale. Like that. We then fit another row over the top. So this time 4 pink. 2. Alright, there's 3 there. So we'll just use them as they are. So open 4. Now at this point I can make these two rows completely separate from one another, which is what I'm going to do. 3. Thank you. Go back in there. 4. And I want 5 blue rings all closed. 1. In a minute we'll probably open and close a fair number, but just to start with we'll just do them as we need them. For one more, and then we can weave these. I don't want another ring on the floor. I just had enough of a trouble picking up the ones that got accidentally spilt. What I am glad about is it was bright orange rings that got spilled, which did make it a little bit easier to see them. So we start with a pink ring. This time we put 2 blues on it because we want a blue on the end, so to speak. Kind of, we do the alternate of that. That has just been done. Put the pink through and do another blue to connect the next one. Pink and a blue, pink and the final blue for the second row. Like that. Now then, in theory that sort of, as I understand it, if I get hold of that one right, yeah, effectively that will go over the top of there, like that. So now I want another 4 blue closed. Now this might be the fun bit, because this is where those two get effectively joined together. One. Two. And I'm kind of counting these. There's absolutely no reason to. I mean, it's fairly obvious when you've got 4. I don't really need to count 4. But there's just something about counting. Let's see if I can consciously avoid counting. Not sure it'll last very long, but we shall see. Okay, that's the ones that I need. Let's get some of these pink ones out. White Tiger Blue Eyes, thank you very much for following. That's most kind of you, I do appreciate that. And that is quite an interesting name. My darling wife over there likes that name as well. Welcome to the studio. That actually has got, oh, I don't know, it kind of strikes me as a lovely name for a piece of jewellery. Does that? White Tiger Blue Eyes. And I can sort of see a necklace or a bracelet with made out of white chain. So like these rings, for example, will come as a sort of a white frosted colour, and somewhere towards the centre, so some either royal blue or possibly more sky blue. I haven't got any sky blue out. I've got a piece of sky blue. No, I think the sky blue. There's a sky blue here with the pink. Sort of a nice. It's like an ice blue section or two sections just to represent the eyes. It sounds like a nice, nice thing. Might have a go at that at some point in the future. Right. So in theory, what I do with this is I take one of those. Where's my other pliers? What I've got to do with this apparently is pick up in the middle of there, pick up that there, and that joins the things together. And now I just basically repeat what I've just done. Which might be easier said than done when you've got something that looks like that. So let me just see if I can put this down on the desk. The right way. I know what this is like. This is like any other weave. It's as soon as you've done a few of them, couple of the weaves, then it will all just fall into place. And it will look okay, but until you get all four in place. So that's that. Yeah, once I get a couple of rows in place, I'll be all right. That's the start. Where's the one I've just added? It's there. Oh dear, this is... Yeah. Boy, does that look somewhat... That's the back. That's the next layer, and that's the one I've just put on over the top. Where's my cocktail stick? Is there. Right, so that I know where that goes. That goes underneath there, and you ring are going to go underneath there. Where's those pliers? I'm working off frame, aren't I? Let me just tip that down so you can. Where am I? Oh, there we go. So you can see TMJT72. I'm inspiring you to fix your many broken chains. Oh well, I'm quite glad about that. Hopefully, they're a bit easier to fix than sorting this out for the first time. Yeah, that goes around this side here. Chainmail, usually speaking, is actually a bit easier than I'm making it look. It's just a little bit awkward to start with. Some of these. TMJT72, thank you also for following. That is most kind of you. I really do appreciate you doing that. Thank you very much. Some weaves, and this apparently is one of them, are just a little bit awkward to start, but once you've got them going, then the second part of it, or the second row or the third row, just becomes easier, and they get easier as you add more, they get easier. So it's they can be a little bit fiddly just to get the right ring to start with in the right position, and sometimes you just lose a bit of the weave like I did there, so that'll want to be through there. So I'm going to get a ring through one I've just added, and that one I've got the cocktail stick through, and then add, is that right? Have I understood that correctly? Yes, I have. So let's see if I can do this while still understanding what on earth it is I'm doing. So I'm going to go through that ring, and I'm going to go through the blue ring that's underneath it there. I'm going to go through the blue ring that cocktail stick is through, and I'm going to put on it this blue ring here, which goes in that space, and it will go in there. You are going in there. There we go. And now I should be able to pick up this and close this pink ring. I'll do it using the other pliers. Right, there we go. And at this point, it now becomes easier to see how things are going, because now it basically, those are holding itself in place. So I'm going to take this ring, I'm going to go through that blue, get hold of the one that's underneath here. This cocktail sticks, really useful things for chainmail. Or I guess you could use some sort of other pointy prodder type thing. Sorry, my fingers are in the way. I am trying to just this is the only bit that sometimes gets frustrating, when you're just trying to do something like get that one ring to go through there like that, which I've just managed to do. Now then, before I bring that up to close it, I need to get another blue ring in that space there, and I'm sure there's an easier way of doing this potentially, but I am learning. And we've brought that ring up there like that, so now I can get hold of it with these pliers and close that gap up. I'm actually looking at this as though it may be better to open the pink rings in the opposite direction, but so what we're starting to form now is that sort of pattern there, which is the dragon scale. Do you have YouTube? Yes and no. Yes, I have a YouTube channel. No, there's nothing on it. It's in plans, to do at some point, but I'm busy setting other things up at the moment as well, and it's just there's just too much going on to do YouTube. Things like this is I am recording this, so for example at some point what I will be doing is putting like time-lapse videos of this up onto YouTube. Oh bother, I've got that ring through there as well. But the YouTube channel, if you want to sort of follow it, is Tarragon Art, same as Twitch. So I will be doing it, but I don't know, as I say, I don't know just quite when it will be. And it's more than possible I will end up making a few special videos for well, I intend to make a few special videos for YouTube. This is where you take a deep breath. Work out where on earth I put that. Why do I have a blue ring there? Let me take that off of there. I've got a blue ring. Exactly where I expect it to be, I think. This weave a little bit relies on all the rings being in a particular position in relation to each other to look good. I think I've got one out of place there. So I'm just trying to persuade it to go where I want it to go. I don't want to have to take it out. There should just be enough room to slip those two rings past each other, but it's not working like that. Okay. What I can do is just open this ring and just reposition it. Do it carefully, the thing hopefully won't fall apart on me, which of course means that Murphy walks in, and that's precisely what happens. There it is. Right, now I'll just close this one back up again, and we've repaired that slight misattachment. Noriko Joy, good evening, welcome to the studio this evening. I'm trying a new weave again. So this one is called Dragon Scale, and like a lot of weaves that when you start them, this one is proving to be a little bit of a challenge. But I am getting there with it, and I think as soon as I've got this row in place, then the challenge will become easier, shall we say. So how are you today, Noriko Joy? Did you enjoy your meal out yesterday? I believe you were going out for a meal. Now then, I want to get a blue ring in there, and I want to get a blue ring in there without that falling off like it just did. That one and that one in there, and those two close. As I get better at this, I'll learn whether I could sort of do that in a slightly easier way than I've just made it look. Okay, and then this final ring should just go through there and that one. Okay, back out. That blue ring wants to go in that space. Right, this dark rose wants to go through that one and that one on its own. And then we close it up. And that's the start of it. Okay, you're waiting on a UPS package. TMJ, where do I get my jewellery supplies? To be honest, from a jewellery supply shop. I'm sorry, it's kind of a silly answer, but to be honest, it's almost the best answer I can give you, because it really depends. I mean, if you're in the States, for example, then you wouldn't want to buy from the place that I buy from, because you'd be subject to import tax and international postage and things like that. So it really depends on which country you're in, and the easiest way to do it is just to look up chainmail rings in terms of these, for example. So I mean, if you're in the States, for example, the what's it called, the Ring Lord is the premier place, if you like, whereas in the UK there's 2 or 3 different places. It's there's no sort of lead supplier, if you like, that I'm aware of in the UK, and it really depends on just what you're after in terms of, these are aluminium, if you're after copper rings, or you're after niobium, titanium and things like that. So it's a bit difficult to sort of say, and it also really depends on the quantities that you buy, because if you buy more, sometimes one place is cheaper than another, and sometimes of course you don't always buy the cheapest because you obviously want a quality level. So you'll go to a different supplier, or you know, it's all sorts of things like that come into it. I hope it turns out to be an interesting parcel, Noriko Joy. So I'm going to do 5 blue rings for this next row. It's a cell phone. Okay, well, it is an exciting parcel, and even if it is a replacement. You're in Australia, getting the right one. Australia, not Austria. You'll have to look around. Yeah, I've no idea there, to be honest. And I don't quite know what your postage would be from the States. I'm in the UK, so you're about as far away from me as you can get. And so I doubt UK suppliers will be of much help to you. I suspect that there will be some suppliers out there in Australia. As I say, if you look on eBay, for example, you can get them, but I don't know anything about eBay in terms of. So I mean, you're closer to sort of the places like Taiwan and things like that, where a lot of stuff on eBay comes from. But as I say, I don't know what they're like on eBay, quality-wise or anything like that. So can't advise you with there. But if you just look, they get called two different things to these sorts of stuff. You'll get them called chainmaille rings, or they also get called jump mail rings, jump rings. Sorry, not jump mail, jump rings, they're also anodized aluminium rings. Are these? As I say, you can get copper, which is then enamel coated. You can get, well, they're probably the two to start with. You can get plain steel rings, which is a grey metal then, which would be used if you wanted to make chainmail, as in armour type chainmail. But for jewellery type stuff, I mean, people do use stainless steel, for example, but they're quite hard to work because steel obviously is a really strong metal. So aluminium is probably the best one to start with. It's relatively soft to work, but is strong as a bracelet or a necklace or something like that. So it's not going to sort of fall apart. But it's easier on your hands when you're learning, using pliers and things, than stainless steel would be, for example. And aluminium is becoming a lot more. At one time it used to be a lot of copper. So I understand. I've not been doing this long, so I'm learning. But at one time copper was used a lot. Now it's stainless steel, and stainless steel is it's aluminium is used, not stainless steel. Get it right, Tarragon. Brain's going like a sieve. Aluminium. It's It's nice and shiny, and it's relatively speaking cheaper than the copper, because to get the bright colours in copper, what they usually do is silver plate it. And why did I do that? Don't know. They silver plate it and then they enamel it to get the brightness, whereas aluminium is sort of done in one process. Me saying why did I do that is because of the way in which I want to pick up a ring. I want to do that and pick up that ring there. Okay, let me get hold of this in my hand. I think what I want to do is pick that ring up there. Then one of these will become the joiner for the next one. Yeah. Okay. Your niece dropped your cell phone off the jet. Okay. That's one you're not getting back, isn't it? It's weird, isn't it? I mean, you can do something like, sometimes you can drop something like a cell phone. You can drop it onto concrete and it'll just bounce. Other times you'll drop it onto something like a wooden floor and it'll break into bits and pieces. Just depends just how exactly it hits, what bit of it hits. And now then, see if I can get this to lay how I want it to lay, which is that piece in there and that one like that. Yeah. And now with the next one, I've got to pick, I think if I get this right, I pick that ring up along with that one. I pick that up and then a blue ring goes in basically into that space there. Where's the end of that? Oh, okay, there it is. I'm being a bit fiddly trying to put this in place first. I suspect I can just add it in, ease it into the right place afterwards. So can I get hold of that with my pliers? Not those. Can I get hold of it with those? Just about. There we go. A little bit of a tight weave. Get a bit looser when I just do that. Now I can get my other pliers in. You are crocheting Minecraft creatures at the moment. Oh, on request at the moment. Okay. That's interesting. It's a long time since I've done any crocheting, and I would never have thought of doing that. So do you actually do creepers so they come apart? Okay, so you crocheted freeform. You crocheted a dragon once. Okay, well of course now there's the Ender Dragon. So I only did sort of what we call coasters, that sort of thing, small flat plate type crochet. Never particularly did anything big. Knitting I can do, but not whilst I can crochet. I've only done as a small tiny things, nothing particularly interesting. Tom Sojapredsa, and you asked me to call you something different the last time you were in the stream, and welcome by the way. And I'm struggling to remember what you asked. I remembered you asked me to call you something, but I can't remember what it is. If you care to remind me, that would be fantastic. So that's got to go through there and through there, and through there. I think I'm getting this right. Well, it's just a little bit tight. There we go. Wonder if I want to actually open the rings the other way around. I'm opening these anti-clockwise. That's kind of a natural way, but for me, but it might well be that it'd be a good idea to open these the other way. And I'm actually wondering if these, and I'm about to think about it, these whether this chain actually is too tight. So I'm going to finish this row. That link is not very well done. Why is that feeling so tight? Usually if a weave seems too tight, generally speaking it's because you've done something wrong. I mean, this sort of feels loose, but is that it? Yeah. That looks like what it is. Okay. Just to sort of illustrate to you is, I think this ring here should be below that one. Because it's above, I think it's making everything a little bit too tight. So I've got to sort of reposition it and get it down inside that position. So can I do that without taking any of this apart? And that might be difficult. The joys of learning a new weave. There's my other pliers. Ara, that's it. Thank you very much. Fluffy Twiglet, good evening. Welcome to the studio this evening. Watching me struggle with a new weave that I have. No, that's not going to do. I'm not going to be able to do that one. Let's see if I can do this one. Yeah. Creeper and a pig. For what? TMJT there makes see if I do that the other way, it'll become self. Does crochet in Minecraft animals, mobs, or non-player characters? Now all I should need to do is just rotate this, and hopefully it should drop into the correct place if I can actually get it to rotate, which just at this moment in time it doesn't want to do. I'm just fixing a mistake. So I'm sorry if it's not particularly visible what I'm doing. Okay, can I do it from the other side? There's only just enough space in here, and that is causing me the difficulty of this. Again, this to go where I want it to go. Come along. Come on, over the top. Why will you not drop down there? That one will go that way. I know there's only just enough space for you, but you can do it. Go on, I know you can. I can see there's space there for you. You see, I'm talking to it on the hopes that it's going to respond and it's going to be really nice and it's going to do what I want it to do. Oh, come along, ring. Come along. It really isn't that hard. Right, now all I've got to do is find the two ends again and close them up. And there's one of them. Okay. There they are. And that's it fixed. Wow, am I glad about that. Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I hate the monsters, to be honest, and I don't want to turn them off because it's useful to have what they drop and things like that. So, and I know there are creative ways of doing it, but one of the first things I always do with the thing that the building or whatever I've made is surround it with a wooden fence so they can't get in. And then play from there. But yeah, get a real job. Thank you for following. I suggest you be polite, otherwise you will be very quickly leaving. Right, let's put this next set of rings through and see if this weave gets any better. It's a really tight weave, and I think well, I think I'd probably be better using larger rings all around maybe on this. Now then, have I done this right? That one there. So I've used that's right. I think I just picked that ring and put that in there. I'm physical. Good evening. Fluffy Twiglet, good evening. Good evening. Oh, blimey. I am. This has got me sort of somewhat flustered, hasn't it? Yeah. Thank you, Fluffy Twiglet. Leatherhorn, good evening. That's the one I was trying to say. Oh, good afternoon. I guess we're in different time zones. Thank you for dropping in. Two different shades of purple. I'm off camera. Blimey. Gotta try and stay on camera. I'll bring it. Do that. That might help. Yeah, in theory, this is called. This is actually blue this time. So this blue that doesn't look like purple, isn't purple. It's actually blue, and the other colour is dark rose, which is sort of a pinky sort of colour. It's halfway between the light pink and the and red sort of thing. Now this is called dragonback. Is this weave? It's a bit tight. And I'm not not sure about it. That ring is out of place. Another one. That's the one thing I'm learning very quickly with this, is that you have to have the rings in the right place. If they're not in the right place, then it seems to make the weave really tight. And I've got one there. That shouldn't be where it is. And and almost certainly I'm not going to be able to get it to go where it should, where I want it to go. At this moment in time I kind of feel like going, that's enough with that. It's okay on that side, but on that side, that one ring there, or those two, whichever way you want to look at it, is in the wrong place. Let's see if I can do this. If not, I'm going to just give up on this one and try it again. Now it depends on whether physically there's enough room to get 4 rings through that space there. If there isn't, this isn't going to work. No, that's not going to work. I'm not going to get that through, and I'm not going to be able to. I'll do that one again. Ah dear, seems like a tough pattern. It is kind of a tough pattern. Well, it's a simple pattern. It's just tough when you're using the wrong ring sizes, I guess. Let's have a look at what I've got. Try it with some other ring sizes. I think is going to be the answer. I don't think these this might work if I did it right, if you see what I mean, but it's because as I sort of look at the edges where I've done it right, then you know it doesn't look too bad. But the one in the middle is where I've got it, whichever is there, it's that one, where I've got that one wrong. That weave is really stiff. I might just start it again. Yeah, I might just start that one again, but what have we got here? I've got some trouble is I know with this it's there 1.2 6.6. What are these? That's precisely what those are. That's what I'm working with. .2 there, 8.4. Okay, let's try, just for the fun of it, shall we say. Just for the fun of it. With something I have no idea whether it's going to work or not, but we shall find out. Put them to one side. Okay. I've got some larger silver rings here, and we'll know fairly quickly. Got some larger silver rings which are off frame, so there, and I've got some of these blue, because I know the blue ones I was using are almost certainly, well, they are too small for that. Actually, I'm not sure whether these blue ones are going to be too small. Let's have a look and see. before I try using one. Helps if I open the blue rings enough to be able to use them. No, it's not really stressful. It's kind of it's just that instantaneous sort of and I'm going to have to take that pink one apart, but just feed 4 on there. Let me just. So it's not so much rather than getting really frustrated over it. I kind of learn, just leave it, walk away, come back. It's so that would be 4 like that, but there would actually be 1 across the middle. So let's see if I can do this. See if there would be enough space. Of course, all of these are hanging in such a way as to make it awkward. So all I want to do here is just see whether there is sufficient space amongst these rings in order for this to work. So alright, so it's going to be like that before I start committing a lot of rings to it. It might. Well, let's have a go. It's close enough that it might work, so I'm going to have a go and we'll see if it works. Indeed, you'll get to see the start, that's right. That's assuming I can get this apart. Come along. Mind you, these are really rather a chunky ring. Because this, if I wanted to make a bracelet, for example, I'd probably work with about 5. Well, 5. That's really a wide. It's really a wide bracelet. Is that to do that? Yeah. So I am just thinking now then, what size are those? They're 4.1s, which is what I've got. No, they're 5s. Those are 4.1, so they're 4.1 diameter. Alright. I'm thinking these silver ones really nice. It would almost be a cuff. It'd be on me, for example. It would be really wide. To try and do those in that. So I'm kind of wondering. Green and orange. Have I got any? No, I don't. Okay, well we're going to do a completely weird, what other colours? Green, purple, 1mm 5, and these are 1mm 5. Excuse me a second while I just dig around in a lot of F5.1s. Okay, I might go for my special purple again. I might just try that. That goes with, that's the green. So if I go with, I'm just wondering whether to go with pink and purple. I mean, it was pink and I was working pink and blue, but pink and purple is close. I'm going to try that and just see what it looks like. These rings are thinner than these blue ones. And what that means, I should have a little bit more space and it be a little bit more flexible. So I'll just put these away and then you'll get to see the start again. And those blue ones are out of there, so I put those back in there, and those silver are out of there. I put the lid back on this because I already had one box go over on the floor tonight and I don't want another. I think that I might try that again later with that particular size ring, but just for the minute what I'm going to do is try with a same sized diameter ring or internal diameter ring, but it's a thinner gauge wire. And that should, in theory, give me a little bit more space to capture the actual rings. So, right, pliers all over the place. So I'm gonna I found it. I think it'll be easier if I close these smaller rings. So 1, I'm back to counting, you see. 2, 3, 4, 5. Whilst I could make sort of what would be perhaps more suitable to suit it to a fella wearing it, so like the big silver chunky rings, you know, a really wide cuff, I guess. I'd kind of like to make one, you know, like my wife would want to wear, which something sort of, you know, 3.5 inches wide she's not going to want to wear. So I kind of want one that's sort of, you know, that's about as wide as it wants to be for, well, or that in my estimation, shall we say, it's as wide as a lot of women would want to wear a sort of a jewellery cuff or a wide bracelet. I may be wrong, of course, and you know, we've got the experts in the stream, so If you feel differently, then let me know. But so I want one ring on this one. So the start's really easy. The start is really easy because it's just stringing, in this case, 5 pink rings with 4 purple ones. You loved your... Oh, okay. Well, I might try it then. My intention was to try and make a couple of these in different sizes, or at least a couple of test chains in different sizes, just to see what they look like. So I can always try the big silver ones. I like to experiment and just see what does work and what doesn't. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more. So the first layer is easy. And actually the second layer is also easy. So that's the first layer, nice and easy, and as long as everything's laid down the correct way, on the desk, so it lies flat like that. The second layer goes over the top of that. So I now want to just close 5 or 4 more of these little rings. One more, and then I'll make the next row. The third row is actually the hard row. I think once the third row is in place, then it becomes easier again. So I want 4 pink for this row, because this is just another of what I've just done. It's just a simple pink purple mix. The magic of the weave comes on the next row, where you start to bind them together. And as I'm doing this, there's a weave I did before which is called Helm, which is like this, and essentially I'm kind of doing this and then just doing another row on top and another row on top of this, and that's kind of how it's put together. So it's, in theory, it should be fairly simple, but there's theory and then there's practice, and often the two do not bear any resemblance to each other. Okay. I don't know which is practical, but you know, each to their own. But I kind of enjoy making both, or have enjoyed making both, shall we say. I have a tendency to like tiny things, so I've played about with sort of got some around here? No. But sort of like little tiny ones. Now that maybe doesn't look small until I put it alongside that one, which then is sort of considerably larger. It's at least twice the diameter, I think, is the big one, and that's not necessarily the biggest I could go, but so I do, and I've got some just experimenting with little tiny rings. So I do like small jewellery, and that I guess in some ways the small stuff is more of a challenge than the big stuff, just because it's small. But actually, half the challenge with not challenge, half the thing of working with chainmail is it's often not the actual size of the rings, but the ratio of the diameter to the thickness of the ring. Adrenax, thank you very much for following. That's most kind of you. Ibrox 7, I should work with electronics. I do work with electronics, although I must admit I don't work with surface mount very often. I've worked with electronics for quite some time. In fact, I started working with microcontrollers almost before they were called microcontrollers. But I have never actually done any surface mount stuff. I've got a fair few surface mount components around here, but you have to sort of, well, no, I was about to say you have to make a printed circuit board for them. That's not true. You don't, but you can't work with the smallest sizes unless you do. So that's the next one. And now essentially what happens with this is it sits on top of that, like sort of like that. And then the next row we bind those two together. So I'm going to want 4 of these rings closed, which is a good job I remember, because I was just about to open that one. Although I need to open them to unfasten them all. They do love to join themselves together. Now it is possible to sort of get hold of these and undo them without, like that. But sometimes it's just it's just as quick to actually just open one of whichever one it is that's holding them. Even though that means sort of 2 operations, opening it just to immediately close it again. That's not bad if you're generating enough power to from the solars to supply your lighting needs. That's not bad. Mind you, of course, as you say, with LED drivers, you're not using as much power. I've got some LED spotlights up here in the roof, and I replace a 10 watt halogen bulb with a 1 watt LED, and I'm getting more light output from the 1 watt LEDs. There's about 10, so that's a clustered 1 watt. And more light output for a lot less power. So 3, 5, right, now then. I start by putting one of these on there and closing it. And that would, in theory, sit, if I can get it to come off my finger, sit there. Like that. My next ring, I have to pick up this one, the one behind it, which is now moving all over the place, trying to do this without disturbing things too much, because I know when I did this the first time it took me a little bit of time to try and work out where the things should go, because it sort of just how do I put this, the weave isn't, it just became a pile of rings basically, and I had to sort of sort it all out again. So that, and I'm going to end up having to pick this up anyway. Goes through there, because I've got to close this, and the only way of closing it is to pick it up. So I'm probably going to spend about 5 minutes in a minute just trying to work out how this went together in order to lay it back down to get the next one in. Once this row's done, it then becomes easy again. And if I'm careful and I lay it down, I may or may not be in a position to work out what on earth I've just done. That's it. Okay. No Felix or Junior tonight. No, indeed. Neither of them around, but the very weird thing is, sat at the other side of the room on my works chair, the chair I use for working on, is Cleo. Now Cleo's only appeared once on the stream under protest. She was brought up, and she's not going to appear on stream again, but she's curled up on my chair. She was curled up on my chair when I came into work this morning, and she reluctantly stayed on my knee this afternoon when because when I went out to get me lunch, when I came back, she was back on my chair, and she reluctantly stayed there for about an hour, and now she's gone back on the chair again. So it's highly unusual. She's come up of her own accord, which she never does. You know, it's a first. It wants to be through there. So I'm going to pick this one, that ring up, and I am aware that it's, well, it might not be so much of a problem with these, but with the other rings I was working with when I kind of gave up on it for the moment, it was highly important that the rings sit in the right place relative to each other for this weave to work. These being thinner may not be quite so much of a problem. Because they're going to lie sort of slanting one on top of each other. See, now that I've got those three joined, it sort of stays a bit more stable, easier to put down like that. Easier, not easy. Where's my cocktail stick gone? There it is. There's quite a few weaves though, Fluffy Twiggle, where the very first few bits of it are awkward, but once you've got those in place, then you're away basically. So I'm just kind of arranging this on the desk, and I know as soon as I pick it up, all this arrangement will go out the window, but well, it won't literally go out the window, but it'll all sort of misalign itself, but that's enough for the moment, just to sort of help me get everything in place. So I go through that ring, I mean, to be honest, if it wasn't for the difficulty of just starting this, I can see this being quite an easy weave. But I kind of wouldn't describe it as a beginner's weave, just because of this sort of kind of how fiddly it is. If you see me what I'm doing here, it's fiddly getting it what they call stable, which it probably is just about now. But once it is stable, then why do I have the feeling that something's not right with that? I don't know, but let me close this ring and we'll have a look. Put it down on the desk. Something isn't right there. Okay, I think that's the ring I've just put on, so we'll take that ring back off. Something's definitely wrong with that. So this is either going to fall apart completely. How can I have got that so off? I have completely messed that up somehow. Okay, so let's see. So now to try and repair this. Well, I am thinking the quickest way of repairing this is going to be to take it apart and start again. It is. Quickest way to do that is going to be to start it again. Because at this moment in time I cannot work out what it is. Ah dear. None of this looks easy. It's really hard for me to agree with that, because it's really kind of not hard. But it's not easy. I kind of agree it's not easy. It's not hard. It is a simple weave, and the hard bit is getting it started. I've got something happen at this end here where I don't know, the chains have got confused, and the ring I've just taken out is actually from a middle chain, and yet somehow. Okay, that ring there is the last one I added, so let me take this one off, and I might then be able to repair it, because at the moment I'm looking at it going, I don't understand. That's the last one I added, which is what I thought I'd just taken off but haven't. So if that's the last one I added, then that doesn't make sense. No. Oh dear, it's I'll take that apart and I'll start again. I'm not going to do it tonight. It's now 10 o'clock at night. We've done that and sort of failed just because, well, I'm not sure whether the rings are just too small, the wrong size, but given the fact that I haven't got one in the right place, I think that's what's making this quite stiff. So what I intend to do tomorrow is to try both of them again. We'll try this one. I'll take it apart and start again. We'll try that and try and make sense of that. Once I get that third row in, which is what happened with this one, it becomes, you know, the pattern, which you can see. That's the dragon back, that dragon scale or dragon back pattern. Once you get that with the first 3 rows, then the thing will hold itself together. But until you get that, it's not going to. It's. I can sort of see it start here. You know, you can sort of see the start of it on that one, but it's not quite there. But rather, you know, we've reached 10 o'clock. It's time to have a rest. And So I'm going to cool down. I'm going to get a drink of water, and we'll have another go tomorrow. So everybody, thank you very much for dropping in. It has been quite fun. We haven't made any progress, but that's the point of learning, isn't it? You learn what to do, what not to do, and you keep trying. If you give up, you don't learn anything. So thank you all, and I'll hope to see you again tomorrow. If there's anybody that's watching and isn't following, I would of course appreciate you doing so, but that's up to you. If you'd just like a notification of when I go live rather than doing it through Twitch, you can follow me on Twitter. The details will be on the end plate in a moment, below the stream window as well, but it's simply at Zaragonart. A tweet does go out whenever I go live, so at least you'd be able to know when that is. On the other hand, if you just want to try and catch me, I start at 8 PM thereabouts normally, UK time, 1900 hours GMT, or about 2 hours ago, whatever time it is, 2 hours ago, tomorrow. And we'll have another go at Dragon Scale. Thank you all, and good evening.